Starting with football, our number 5 player of the decade is Katie's Rodney Anderson. The tailback rushed for 6,533 yards for the Tigers and held the rushing record there until Seth Davis recently beat it. He rushed for almost 2,500 yards and 36 touchdowns as a senior in 2015 as the Tigers won a state championship that year. Anderson was riddled by injuries at Oklahoma, but still had a cup of coffee in the NFL. Coming in at number 4 in our all-decade list is Isaiah Spiller of Klein Collins. The running back had 3,597 yards from scrimmage and 53 touchdowns. He was the District 15 6A Offensive MVP in 2017 and 2018, and he went on to play for Texas A&M. Spiller was then drafted by the Chargers in 2022. Our third best player of the decade is another running back, Devon Achane of Fort Bend Marshall. He finished his Buffs career with 4,795 yards and 87 touchdowns out of the backfield. He would also catch nearly 100 career passes and 23 more touchdowns in the receiving game. Simply a highlight waiting to happen at Marshall, Achane's incredible high school career led him to Texas A&M, where he just finished a solid career for the Aggies. Coming in at number 2 is North Shore quarterback Demetrius Davis. He led the Mustangs to state championships as a sophomore and junior and finished his remarkable career with 13,000 total yards and 171 touchdowns. Demetrius was the player of the year in Houston as a senior as he threw for over 3,500 yards and 38 touchdowns. Davis went to Auburn and is currently at Alabama State. And the player who we feel is the best player we've covered this decade is Jalen Hurts. Jalen played for his dad Avery at Channelview and was one of the best dual threats in the nation. Defenses never knew how to stop this quarterback as he passed for 2,384 yards and 26 touchdowns as a senior, and he ran for almost 1,400 yards and 25 more touchdowns. Hurts started his collegiate career in Alabama, and then he went to Oklahoma and finished second in the Heisman voting. And of course, this past season, he led the Philadelphia Eagles to the Super Bowl. In hoops, our number 5 best player to cover this decade was Kendrick Davis of Sam Houston. The flashy point guard had a heck of a career for the Tigers. Davis averaged over 22 points a contest for his 3 years and also dished out over 7 assists per game. He led Sam Houston to a 29-5 record his senior year before heading to TCU, then SMU, and finally Memphis. Coming in at number 4 is Carson Edwards from Atascocita. You had to get a hand up or Edwards would drop shots on you from all over. He graduated in 2016 after averaging 26 points a game and leading the Eagles to the 6A state title game. Carson was the Houston Player of the Year as a junior and first-team All-State as a senior before going to Purdue. He went on to play a couple of seasons with the Celtics. At number 3, it's the most dominant girls player we've come across, Brianna Turner from Manville. Unstoppable in the paint, many felt Brianna was the best player in the country for the class of 2014. Turner averaged a double-double for her career at 20 points and 10 rebounds, plus she swatted 4 shots a game. Turner went on to play at Notre Dame and is currently with the Phoenix Mercury of the WNBA. Our number 2 player of the decade is Quentin Grimes from College Park. His game was just like his last name, grimy. Quentin could take the contact and still get to the bucket, plus he lit it up from the outside. In 2018, Grimes averaged 29.5 points a game and was the Texas Gatorade Player of the Year. Quentin initially went to Kansas before transferring back to the University of Houston, and he helped lead the Cougars to the 2021 Final Four. And finally, the best player that we've covered on the hardwood during this decade was De'Aaron Fox out of Sci Lakes. As a junior, he averaged 23 points a game, and he really stepped that up his senior year, where Fox averaged 32 points and almost 8 rebounds a game. All eyes were on Fox during his 2016 season, as he had a pair of 50-point games that year. De'Aaron went to Kentucky for a year and is currently an All-Star for the Sacramento Kings.